Joining us now is the CEO of Biomed Devices, Dean Bennett. Dean, thanks for being with us today. Now you're filling orders for 2 versions of ventilators. You're also working on a 3rd machine, an oxygen blender. How many of these different types of machines are you making, and how quickly can you get them out to customers?
Well, we have 2 different models of ventilators that we currently manufacture. The newest one is our TV100, which got approved by the FDA last year. It took us about 3 years to get through that process. That's probably the most popular one. We make another ventilator called the CrossVent series of ventilators, which has been on the market for over 15 years. We're still producing them and manufacturing those, so there's demand for any kind of ventilator possible at this point. And then the air oxygen blenders that we manufacture can be used in a high flow therapy situation before, if a patient doesn't need to be put on a ventilator. They may need to go from that therapy to a ventilator if they continue to get sicker. But if not, that's a good option to use our air oxygen blender with a humidifier and a nasal cannula to deliver oxygen to the patient.
So how many machines are you actually producing right now, and can you keep pace with the demand you're seeing?
We are producing, we're a small company, 80 employees. We've been in this business for over 30 years. We're producing about 50 a week right now with 7 days a week. We can produce more, we can hire more people, there's plenty of people available, but the problem is our supply chain and getting parts in. So that's what we have been approached by a very large Connecticut company, which I can't say the name of yet. We will be able to by the end of this week, to help with our supply chain and help with manufacturing. So we're looking to ramp up to hopefully 1,000 a month is our plan.
Dean, there's been a lot of talk about kind of triage in the types of ventilators. It sounds like you're making a type of ventilator that would be useful for more acute cases, but there's been some open sourcing of more basic ventilators that could be used for people who are just beginning to have serious breathing difficulty. What is your take on that movement to allow more broad production of basic ventilators? Is that going well? Is your sense that there are more of those needed than those that'll be effective for more acute care?
Yeah, from my understanding of the requirements of the ventilation of a patient that has COVID-19 is that it's not, they don't need to have all the real fancy modes that a lot of critical care ventilators have. So I have seen that MIT was working on an open source ventilator, which is basically something mechanical to squeeze a bag and breathe for a patient. Our ventilator is not a critical care ventilator. It's really designed for transport, has most of the modes of a critical care bedside ventilator at 1/3 the cost, and is portable with batteries so that they can move them around quite easily as opposed to the big heavy-duty critical care ventilators.
So, Dean, I realize that you're about to announce a partnership with a major company probably before the week is over, and you're going to see your production numbers continue to ramp up pretty dramatically. In the meantime, given the fact that you have been shipping ventilators to Italy, Japan, other parts of the world, now you're receiving orders here in the U.S., how do you prioritize which orders to fill first?
It's tough. I mean, I contacted the state of Connecticut a few weeks ago to say, look, I'd really prefer to be shipping these. I'm from Connecticut, born and raised in Connecticut, to Connecticut and the U.S. We do have customers that we've worked with for years internationally, so it's a tough situation. The governor came to see us yesterday, put on a press conference here, and we committed to 100 ventilators to the state of Connecticut. He signed a purchase order for that while he was here. So we are trying to prioritize U.S., but we're not going to not ship anywhere else as well.
Dean, what would help as far as information that you could be getting either from one centralized location, somebody in the federal government, or the communication from states, from medical facilities to help you make these decisions about prioritization, about demand? What kind of improved communication from here or better communication from here would help?
Yeah, it would be nice. I was contacted by the White House pandemic COVID-19 task force. I have not heard back from them, so I don't know what's going on with them at this point. Just as far as, Our local government here in Connecticut is now in full contact with us. But as far as federally, no, we don't really have any contacts.
Hey, Dean, I'm curious to know more about the supply chain issues that you mentioned. Where are those chains based? Do you sense that we're going to be seeing some migration of those chains, repatriating some of that component manufacturing in the months or years to come?
Yeah, so we buy from, all over the world. There are some things we get from China, not a whole lot, but that's been an issue because even before the COVID, they go into Chinese New Year and then they got hit with the COVID. So that really slowed down things coming in from China. Mostly it's injection molded things that we get from there. Circuit boards are an issue. We have a proprietary motor turbine that's built into the ventilator. Some of those parts, are going to be harder to get. I will say that all of our vendors understand what we do and have been really helpful in trying to pull these things in quicker than normal and putting us to the top of the list, which is great to see. I mean, really, everyone's behind this.
Dean, quickly, going back to the beginning of this conversation, at a time where we're seeing millions of people file jobless claims right now and go on furlough, lose their positions. Did I hear you say you're hiring?
We are hiring, yes. We don't want to outpace our raw materials at this point, so we're working 7 days a week. We are looking to hire. We may put a second shift on when we get better visibility on where the parts in the supply chain are coming in. We just, we don't want to outpace that. So we can definitely get the labor up. It's a matter of getting the raw materials in.